During the height of the pandemic, a trusted nurse stole from the dying, a betrayal that shocked the nation.
In April 2020, while nurses worked 18-hour shifts watching patients die alone. While families said goodbye through iPad screens. While morgues overflowed with body bags. Someone saw an opportunity. Not to help. Not to heal. But to steal. This is the story of how trusted Americans stole $280 billion from a program meant to save lives during our darkest hour. And how one of them was a healthcare worker. March 2020. The world locked down. In just 30 days, 22 million Americans lost their jobs. Families couldn't pay rent. Small businesses boarded up windows. Hospitals ran out of ventilators. The government responded with the largest emergency relief package in history, $2.2 trillion. The Paycheck Protection Program. Economic injury disaster loans. Unemployment benefits. Money had to move fast. Too fast for the usual checks and balances. They knew there would be fraud. But lives were at stake. So they took the risk. What they didn't know was just how dark the human heart could be when given opportunity. And some of the darkest hearts wore scrubs. Her name was Diane. A registered nurse from California. 15 years of experience. Pediatric ward. Soccer mom. Church volunteer. In March 2020, she was furloughed. The hospital cut non-emergency staff. By April, she'd filed for unemployment. Legitimate. By May, she'd discovered something else. The Paycheck Protection Program was designed for businesses to keep employees on payroll. You could get up to $10 million. Forgivable if you used it for wages. The application was online. Simple. Almost too simple. Diane didn't own a business. She created one. Diane's Healthcare Consulting LLC, registered on a Tuesday, applied for a PPP loan on Thursday. Claimed 50 employees. Average monthly payroll, $400,000. It was a lie. Every word. The loan was approved in 72 hours. $2.1 million deposited directly into her bank account. Within a week, she bought a Tesla Model X, $95,000. A Rolex, $38,000. A timeshare in Maui, $220,000. While her former co-workers rationed N95 masks and worked double shifts without hazard pay. Diane was posting Instagram stories from infinity pools. But Diane wasn't alone. She was one of tens of thousands. The schemes were everywhere. The Secret Service estimated that $100 billion was stolen from unemployment programs alone. The PPP? Another $80 billion minimum. But numbers don't capture the betrayal. Let me tell you what that money was supposed to do. Maria owned a family restaurant in Brooklyn. 30 years in business. When COVID hit, she applied for PPP funding to keep her staff employed. She was rejected. Funds depleted. She laid off 14 people. Families who'd worked for her for decades. The restaurant closed permanently in November 2020. The reason she was rejected? The funds had run out. Funds that were sitting in Diane's checking account. Funds that bought someone's third car while Maria couldn't make rent. Dr. James worked 96-hour shifts in a New York ICU. He watched 47 patients die in March alone. His hospital applied for relief funds to buy equipment and hire more staff. Delayed. Underfunded. Denied. They ran out of body bags by April 3rd. Meanwhile, fraudsters were buying boats. Literal boats. With relief money. This wasn't just theft. It was theft from the dying. Theft from the desperate. Theft from the traumatized. The government knew fraud was happening. But they were overwhelmed. Then they started seeing patterns. Bank accounts that received millions. And spent it all within weeks. Luxury purchases that didn't match business expenses. IP addresses that filed hundreds of applications. Social media posts. This was their downfall. Fraudsters couldn't help themselves. They posted the Lamborghini in the driveway, the Rolex collection, the private jets, the cash stacks. Hashtags like #blessed, #entrepreneur, #self-made. Federal agents were watching. Screenshotting. Building cases. In September 2020, the arrests began. Diane was arrested at 6:47 a.m. on a Tuesday. FBI agents at her door. Her children watched from the window as their mother was handcuffed. She was charged with wire fraud, bank fraud, and making false statements. Maximum sentence, 30 years. In her interrogation, she said something chilling. Everyone was doing it. I thought I deserved it after everything I'd been through. Everything she'd been through. She was furloughed for 8 weeks. With full unemployment benefits. As of February 2025, over 3,500 people have been charged with COVID relief fraud. Diane pleaded guilty in March 2023. She was sentenced to 6 years in federal prison. Ordered to repay $2.1 million. She'll likely serve 4 years with good behavior. 4 years. For stealing money meant to save lives during a pandemic. Others got less. Some got probation. Many were never caught. The statistics are staggering. $280 billion total estimated fraud. Only $1.2 billion recovered so far. Less than 2% of fraudsters were prosecuted. Average sentence, 3.5 years. Meanwhile, the legitimate victims? Maria's restaurant never reopened. Dr. James has PTSD from what he witnessed. Families who legitimately needed help went hungry because funds ran dry. And the emotional toll? Incalculable. This story isn't just about fraud. It's about who we are when society's guardrails come down. When trust was necessary but not deserved. When desperation met opportunity. The government had a choice: move fast and risk fraud, or move slow and let people suffer. They chose speed. They chose to trust. And thousands of people betrayed that trust. Not for survival. Not for necessity. For Teslas. For Rolexes. For Rolexes. For Instagram clout. The COVID relief fund theft, 280 billion stolen. Billions still missing. Thousands still free. The government will never put its trust on us the same way again. Like, share and subscribe to this YouTube channel for more stories of fraud, betrayal, and justice.